good afternoon everyone. Welcome to Galleywood Heritage Centre. Those that don't know me, I'm Bryan. I'm the chairman of the Galleywood Historical Society and also a trustee of the Heritage Centre. We're very pleased to host this bench, which has come to us via Essex County Council, or the Essex Record Office, and the National Lottery funding, as you can see there on the signboard. We think we found a lovely place for it in our gardens here. You can sit on the bench and look across at the gardens and listen to what we hope are some very good clips from our oral history. The Galleywood Historical Society has been talking to villagers for about a year now, and we're into double figures on the number of oral history tapes that we've made. We think they're very exciting. They give us a lot of insights into the history of Galleywood, the people of Galleywood, the places in Galleywood. We've chosen half a dozen clips to go on the bench here. We just press a button and listen to the clips. So without further ado, I'd really just like to unveil it by cutting the ribbon and pulling off the not quite veil that's covering it. Thank you very much for coming along today. Probably won't cut. Tell me when. Lovely. Okay, go on in.
Yes. Oh, and I've got it dropping.
Oh, it's a wooden bed.
And I hope if I press a button it'll actually work.
This bench is part of the Essex Record Office's You Are Here project, funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund. Bryan and Wendy Stubbins talking about Bryan and his parents.
I'm Bryan Stubbins. I lived in Galleywood for 31 years. I was born in Galleywood. I went to Galleywood infant school and spent my time there.
Yes, I'm Tony Lodge. I've lived in Galleywood all my life. I was born here in Watchhouse Road. Well, I talked about my dad building his own air raid shelter, and you know.
What was the closest he got to a bomb hitting it? Did any bombs drop in Galleywood?
Yes.
Down by the railway line.
One dropped down by the railway line. Do you remember that?
Yeah, no, I don't. I remember the one in Skinner's Lane. That was much nearer.
And did you, as a family, actually use this air raid shelter?
Yeah, we did go in it a few times.
No, did you sleep in it at night?
No.
Did you go into it at night when you heard bombers coming over?
Sometimes.
And how big was it, Tony?
It was 6 by 6.
How many people could sleep in it?
Oh, I don't know.
You were smaller then.
I was 6.5, yeah.
6.5.
Oh, God.
Did it give you a little peace of mind as a 6.5-year-old to know that, well, Dad's got a shelter?
Well, no, except that I was with wherever the family went, I went with them, you know.
Chelmsford took a terrible pasting, doesn't it?
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about Henry Road and
Yes.
even a V2 landing.
Yeah.
But it's glad that your father, and I think I would have done the same, made his family an air raid shelter, much to be congratulated. Did he dig it out himself, or was it very shallow?
It was dug out about 3 foot, so that took half of the shed, only a small shed, 6 by 6. That half was in the ground, and we had a big heap of soil, of course, that come out of the hole, and then that was banked up against it, but there wasn't enough to put anything on the top. We had corrugated iron, which was folded round this 6 foot shed. We thought, well, my dad thought anyway, that was going to keep the water out, but it didn't.
Right, so hopefully it could keep a bomb out, but water was seeping through. So did he have to go with a little bucket and sort of scrape it up every rainfall?
You had to wait for it to going away again.
My name is Lee Bryan. I've been billed as Lee Seaman, which was my maiden name, but I've been Lee Bryan for the last 48 years. I was approached by a girl I went to school with who's very committed to the Heritage Centre and organises the Galleywood School Days. I lived in Galleywood from the age of 4 to the age of 23, and I went to Galleywood School. I was aware that my mum here did a lot of her courting in Galleywood.
Is that right,
On the
Mark?
common.
On the common, say no
Down the
more.
race course.
Never got caught.
I was also aware that my mum and dad watched the last horse race round the common before the war broke out, and I remember lots of tales of my father's mother and stepfather who lived and worked in Galleywood before we lived here. And one of the stories my grandma used to talk about was when it was Chelmsford Carnival, they used to lay a mile of pennies. I don't know how much that used to raise, but it would have been old pennies, and everybody was invited to put a penny down till they'd got a mile of pennies. We also used to cycle from Galleywood End where we lived, which apparently my mum and dad remembered as having been the football field when they were courting. They eventually went to live in Kirkman's Road when the houses were built.
On the football pitch.
On the football pitch.
On the football pitch.
Yeah, and they were built, as Mum will tell you, by Arnolds of Chelmsford, and very good builders. She always tells me that they were very good builders.
My name is Edith Zoom, and
And what is your contribution? What have you spoken about?
talking about the village life.
Just live ordinary village life.
Yes.
What years do you start to remember the village life? How old would you have been when your memory started to click in?
It's before the war. Before the war, yes. I was 19, I think, when the war broke out.
19?
Something like that.
Right, well, I'm going to be very rude and ask a lady her age. How old are you?
97.
But
Are you going for the Queen's
Not if
birthday
I can
card?
help it, no.
she's actually not far off of 98. That's only a few weeks away.
Oh, really? Congratulations. They should all be singing happy birthday to you. Are you the oldest resident in Galleywood who's still compos mentis?
I don't really
Well, we
know.
don't live in Galleywood now. So
Oh, you
we
don't?
No, we come
Okay.
from the other side of Norwich.
How long did you live in Galleywood for?
You were 4 when we moved.
I was 4, and then I was 23 when I got married, and you left just before I got married.
Yes.
Why did you leave such a beautiful village?
Well, it was my husband's work. He was called up when the war broke out. He was discharged on health grounds, so he wasn't in the army for very long. And after he was discharged, we got married in February 1940.
I bet it was a very frugal wedding.
Oh, it was.
Did you have bridesmaids dressed up? Were you dressed
Oh,
up?
no,
Did you have a
nothing
big
like
cake?
that. No, we did have a cake. We were lucky because the local person made cakes for celebrations, and we were lucky we had the last wedding cake that she made with the proper ingredients.
Rather than carrots?
Or cardboard icing.
Yeah. So where did you get all the food from and the drink for your reception?
Oh, we didn't have a reception, not in the normal sense of it.
But at least you had a beautiful, delicious, the last of the icing cakes, properly made.
Yes.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Flavoured with a bit of brandy.
Something like that.
Right, that's lovely. Thank you so much.
My name is Gil Bellamy. My maiden name was Chaplin, Gil Chaplin.
Were you related to Charlie?
Supposed to have been, so my mother said.
These are a magnificent, worthy of Westminster Cathedral, magnificent display.
They've been done about 3
Absolutely.
days now, so
They
they're
really loved
doing
it
well.
now.
Are they intoxicated with sugar to keep them awake? Where have they grown?
On my allotment in Chaplin's Close, the Chaplin's Close was named after my family,
Why?
because I think they were quite well known in the
Yes, they
village.
were.
Yes, they were.
Chapman's Farm and the milkman.
They were farmers and delivered milk every day.
That's right.
With a horse and cart.
With a horse and cart.
Yeah.
What a wonderful history to have a street named after you.
Funny enough, the other week I was talking to a gentleman, I didn't recognise him, but he knew who I was. And he said, because they were quite a religious family, always went to the Methodist chapel, and he said your father used to let us hoe about a quarter of an acre of land every year for sugar beet. He said, but we mustn't work on Sundays. And when they used to see the milk cart coming along on Sunday morning along the road, they'd hide in the ditch so they wouldn't be seen.
I'm sure they're eternally punished for that. What a lovely story. So how many years have you lived? Well, you obviously haven't left. You were born. What year?
1936. I was born where the old library, the new library stands next. Pym's Farm.
Yes.
That's why you have Pym's Lane.
Yeah.
All the history, all the names coming back, it's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for gracing us with these wonderful, wonderful flowers. They don't come from the tropics, boys and girls. They come from Galleywood. And this lady has got green fingers.
Absolutely.
I think a round of applause for the flowers, please.
There's a little mouse over there. Oh, it's gone.
Oh, right.
Is that a mouse?
Yeah, it's got...
She saw a mouse, where?
Yeah, it's got,
A little field mouse.
yeah.
It's part of Galleywood Zoo.
It was sitting there while you were talking, so I couldn't say anything. Having been reprimanded and got lost a brownie point once, I couldn't take the risk again.
That's lovely. Well, thank you.
I forgot to say though, here, when it's the grandstand, we used to have the flower show, and we had lots of competitions, and there was a competition to catch the greasy pig. And it was only married ladies that could go in for it. Do you remember that, Tony?
No, I don't remember that one.
Well, it must be a bit easier than the greasy mouse. Lovely. This has been a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you. She used to stay there, and
George King.
George King,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a superintendent, wasn't he?
Yes, he was, yeah.
We've done everything in the end.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Little wave. Memories are made of this.
Is that right?
Your mum's a cheeky one there.
I know, I can't keep her in order, but I keep telling her it's a long walk back to Norwich.
3 cheers for Galleywood. Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray!